Hello, my name is Pew Pew Choo Choo, and inside the second battle for this campaign, we'll be taking a look at the Battle of Voronezh. In this battle, we will be applying what we've learned in the earlier scenario, and then refining it. Our goal is simple. We are to reach the two villages on the other side of the river. Inside this scenario, we will also be taking a look at the various support steps presented inside the game, such as the Stug and the T-34. In addition, we've been granted a unit of Panzer Grenadiers. Our goal is simple. We are to press from the south, make a push, penetrate the enemy's lines, and advance simultaneously with the Panzers in the south and the north. North following the road, while East in the south going directly for the southern objective. You can see here that we've made a bulge inside the enemy's lines, and now we are simply widening the gap and waiting for the enemy to take a retaliatory action. Since supply is transported by the railroads presented on the map, I've decided to attack directly where the enemy's rail transportation is. While I cannot see the enemy's supply ranges, I can assume that the railroad does encompass for some of the supplies to the front line. You can see here that a very large problem with these wide frontal trench lines, I would say, is that they're easily broken in single location, and once a penetrative action has been taken, it's fairly easy to just simply get into the enemy's rear. Another thing that should be taken into account for this scenario is that we have a very short deadline of only 3 turns to reach our objectives. I estimate that we will be able to reach this side of the river by the 2nd turn and advance into the 2 objectives in the 3rd turn. Our supplies look good. Since we are advancing down the railroad, we present a good opportunity for the enemy to block us. However, our supply situation will always be stable throughout this scenario. However, in the south, that is another story. You can see here that the enemy is trying to re-establish a stable front. I've gotta say, the AI is pretty good at doing this job. Now, most of the missions inside this game are purely offensive actions, and that being said, the AI has to be very good at its one form of gameplay. You can see here that they've decided to make a multiple line of defense on the railroad crossing. In addition, they are moving some of the units in the rear up to protect that settlement. On our turn, we are simply just going to push up from the 2 bulges. I use air power to clear up the enemy resistance and to suppress their steps before advancing in with my main troops. Our sole goal at the moment is to simply move faster than they can put up a line of defense. Things look promising in the south. We made a breakthrough here, eliminating most of the units and rendering them combat ineffective. Now, each and every single unit on the field exerts a zone of control. Should we be present inside this zone of control, the move radius of our units will be severely shorter than it would be without. Since it looks like we've destroyed the 2 units in the south, we both, in other words, we put them in a stance in which they are considered weak units. They do not exert this zone of control on our units. Hopefully we will be able to advance very fast to the objective in the south. In the meantime, I push up through the north. Well, in theory, we can go off our supply path for a few turns. Ultimately, I would want to continue pressing along this railroad. You can see that I'm constantly increasing my zone of supply from the rear. By doing so, it extends the radius I can move off of the tracks in the north. Things look promising. The enemy's defenses are pulling back to positions that aren't necessarily extremely defendable. It looks like there's that one unit in the south that is fully reinforced. That might be a problem. The Soviet AI puts a lot of suppression on my Panzer Grenadier unit. I should note that the Panzer Grenadier unit is a double veteran unit. It's a lot more effective than anything else that I have here. And on the other side, the Russians, on their last line of defense, only have green units marked by the little green X, making it very problematic for them to conduct a good line of defense. In the south, you'll see here that I ran out of movement points to actually advance onto the objective. It is turn 3 right now, and we're short 1 movement point to get there. It looks like we're gonna have to take the prestige cost of waiting for another turn. In the north, I estimate the same thing will happen. The enemy has put 2 lines of defense, one over a river. You might notice that the enemy step inside the city of Voronezh has actually been entrenched and has a MBKD force along with it. I hope we'll be able to reach the river by the end of this turn. The only problem that remains is actually taking the city on the northern banks of the river here. Because it's an infantry division, it is set up inside a village, which is rather problematic to tanks. That, coupled with the fact that we have to cross a bridge and a water obstacle, makes it quite difficult. In the south, we're definitely going to be able to take our objective, but in the north, I would assume that since we have a lot of air power, we will be able to use that to make a breakthrough there. Since on the first airstrike we've already suppressed quite a lot of the enemy, it is a certain now that we will be able to finish the scenario on this turn. And now that the north has been captured, we are pretty much guaranteed victory here. This is Pew Pew Choo Choo, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, if you'd like, of course.